Hey, what's going on, everyone? It looks like Armageddon is at hand. I am reviewing the Engines of Armageddon, particularly their demo called Obelisk, which was released this year in 2010. Now, the main thing that originally drew me to this band was my appreciation for classic doom metal. I've been a fan of bands like Anathema and My Dying Bride for a number of years now, and doom metal is definitely a style I particularly enjoy. But I have to say in this release that using a label like doom metal is really an oversimplification, and the Engines of Armageddon is a band that definitely takes influences from a number of styles, likes to experiment, and does it quite well. Now, this is definitely one of my musical highlights as of late. This is an up-and-coming band. They're not, overly well known yet, but give them time. I think they will do well, and as long as they get, backup from the record companies and so on, I think this is a band that could become very appreciated, especially among metal fans. Now, what you get here is a list of 3 tracks. This sort of title track called Obelisk. Track 2 is The Mysterious Case of Wardenclyffe Tower. And track 3 is called Imbibe the Toxin. One thing this band does particularly well, and something I really have to commend here, is that they throw in a lot of different styles and influences in their different tracks in terms of the way they express their ideas. But those ideas themselves stay consistent, and they use that sort of mechanism to keep the album fresh and interesting. But at the same time, you can really recognize, they have a distinct sound. And when you hear the album, or slash demo, I guess, you can really say, yes, this is distinctly the Engines of Armageddon, and not some other band, and not 3 different bands that, threw tracks together. So that sort of balance is really well done here. Now, in terms of the vocals, what you really get is sort of a fusion between doom metal and more old school kind of 80s, like thrash and kind of, classic metal vibe. The production on the vocal is well balanced, actually, and I found that you can actually hear and fully appreciate the lyrics as well, despite a slightly kind of crunchy tone and, that sort of crunchy 80s vibe to the vocals. They do it very well without sounding retro or sounding cheesy, so I really like the vocals overall in here, both the sort of more aggressive parts and the more progressive and sort of more flowing bits. And one thing to note about that in particular is that despite the vocal range here, you can really hear that it's the same vocalist. Like, that sort of style, the underlying tone, always stays consistent despite the range of the vocals or how fast the music is going at that point in time. So I really like that. And that's, as I said earlier, is a topic and idea that flows through to all the instruments on here. The guitar playing is quite good on here. They definitely know how to build up that sludgy undertone, with having all the guitar sounds kind of focused in one area. And even though they keep a similar style of distortion throughout the album, there's a lot of playing on the higher range of the guitar that does offset the sort of sludgy tone, and it comes into play in more faster parts, especially on, say, The Mysterious Case of Wardenclyffe Tower. Now, the bass player is actually quite talented here, and one of the things I liked a lot about this release was that there are even parts on this particular demo that I thought the bass player was part of the forefront of the music rather than sort of blended into the background. At any point in time, you can actually just focus on the music and, listen for the bass player, and you can hear he's doing something intelligible at any point in time. So the production in that particular case is excellent, and overall I'd have to say the production on this release is generally, well done. It's crisp, it's audible, but at the same time it's not overly polished, so great production overall. And finally, the drumming. The drumming is quite aggressive in a lot of parts here. Some good fills, and overall no gripes with the drumming whatsoever. The beat is kept very well, and it's a decent mix between the faster and the slower parts. If there's anything in particular to criticize on this release, I found that some of the faster bits were a little bit repetitive, and that was particularly apparent on The Mysterious Case of Wardenclyffe Tower. The introduction I found was a little bit awkward because the band sounds like they're stepping on their own feet. But in other tracks, say Imbibe the Toxin, I didn't really feel that problem really cropped up again. That song was sort of more groove oriented, and sort of a throwback to the more classic, early '90s and like late '80s kind of classic thrash metal and classic kind of groove metal material. So I really like that, and that sort of reference back to that older style. So overall, I have to say, the Engines of Armageddon, they produced a great demo here. It's well balanced. It keeps its ideas fresh. It uses a number of styles and influences. The thrash, the groove, the doom metal, the sludge. They all come into play here, and the songs sound distinct yet cohesive at the same time. So all in all, I would definitely recommend you check out the Engines of Armageddon, an up-and-coming band, something to keep an eye on, and something to really enjoy. So thanks for watching this video, and have a good weekend. Bye.